Hi, I am Revati, Assistant Professor, Department of EEE, SNS College of Technology. In this lecture series video of Fundamentals of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, today's topic is CRO. So, CRO is a cathode ray oscilloscope which is looks like the images which we have displayed in the presentation. So that it can use it to measure the analog, digital or waveforms, which is sinusoidal wave, AC or DC, square waves, spike waves, used to measure the harmonics, voltage, frequency, width, modulations, everything we can measure using the CRO. For the given input, we can measure the output waveform in the CRO, which is the used as an display devices. So the basic block diagram of the CRO is the input signal is given across the vertical amplifier. So we can know that amplifier is a device which is used to amplify the input signal or weaken signal. So by amplifying the weakened signal, we can get the strengthened signal. That process is known as amplification process. So that vertical amplifier is used to strengthen the signal, and the delay line is used for the vertical deflection plates, where it is reflected in the electrical gun. So the luminous spot, where in a vertical amplifier it is used as a trigger circuit, time by base generator, and horizontal amplifier. So that both horizontal and vertical amplifier which is employed in the electrical gun, whereas the horizontal displaying plate will collect the horizontal amplification process, whereas in vertical deflection plates it collects the vertical amplification reflections. So these two reflections will reflect in the electrical beam, whereas screen is used as a phospher screen, which is green or blue in color. The luminous part is the spot, whereas we can set the 0 in the CRO, so that we can measure the value in a line or a dotted spot, whereas we can start your frequency ranges from 0 to whereas used as a time period for whatever we obtain. So this is the basic block diagram of a cathode ray oscilloscope. So the important thing is to CRT display, crystal displays, whereas HV supply, high voltage supply and low voltage supply to all the circuit is employed in the CRO. So cathode ray oscilloscope, it is a base pin for arrangemental cathodes, focus anode, beam deflection, phosphor screen, visible light, emission, bright spot, horizontal deflection plate. So these are all the things which we employed in the cathode ray oscilloscope, whereas it is discussed in the block diagram. So the vertical depletion plate and the horizontal depletion plate is employed in the electron beam and electron gun, so that we can gain the emission through the electron beam, whereas the beam reflection takes place in Vy and Vx. So the main control of CRO is brightness and focus. We can brightness is a major key factor for the CRO, where we can see through what is displayed in the CRO as a waveform, where spike waveform, square, triangular, sinusoidal, AC/DC waveform. Every waveform is seen through the brightness and focus. Adjust the clarity and brightness of the beam on the screen. Power switches is used to turn the CRO on and off. So the adjustable voltage, frequency ranges, time period is also used to adjust how the CRO logs onto the signal to keep the display steady. So the controls moves the waveform up, down, left and or right on the screen. So time division is used for 1 millisecond per division, or else in square 1 millisecond. So the voltage division is used to increase the vertical grid square representation. For example, if set to 1 volt per division, each square shows 1 volt. If we set 2 volt per division, it will shows 2 volt. As like as time division also works. So choose which input channel, 1 or 2, display both for comparing two signals, which is connected to the props to the voltage regulator and to the CRO. So the amplitude, peak to peak voltage is measured by the AC amplification signal. So in amplitude, it is a maximum voltage reached by the signal. It is measured in volts. So peak voltage is another name for amplitude. In peak to peak voltage is twice the peak voltage. When reading an oscilloscope trace, it is used to measure the peak voltage. So the frequency is a time period or a cycle per second. It is measured in hertz. So 1 kilohertz is equal to 1000 hertz and 1 microhertz is equal to 10,000 hertz. So this is known as the frequency. It is for the time taken for the signal to complete one cycle, it is used to measure in a second s. But time division is so short to millisecond ms and microseconds are often used in 1 ms or 0.01 seconds. So the measurement is displayed in the CRO as like the given images, whereas zero voltage is represented in a straight line, whereas the peak voltage or peak to peak voltage is represented in the dotted lines, and the waveform is generated across these two voltage ranges. So for these given waveform, the voltage division is across 1.5 and the time period is for two divisions. So this is given to the peak to peak amplitude of the signal, whereas the vertical attenuation is set to 0.5 volt per division. It is observed on the screen on an oscilloscope. So in this given division 2ms, where the time period is given as time divided by division into number of division per circle. So this is also displayed in the CRT display where determine the frequency of the signal. So direct current time base switched off is dotted representation, whereas in time base switched on is represented as a line, straight line, where time base switched off is alternate for the straight vertical line and on is represented as an sinusoidal waveform or any other waveform which we have to obtain. So CRO cathode scope and digital oscilloscope is the two types of CROs, strengthen weaken signals, where the lighter and the pointed note of the name of DC oscilloscope, the CRO will employs to measure the waveform to the given division, which is employed as voltage or time period. Thank you.